of the press. This joint press conference was called by the Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri Federal Constituency of Delta State, consisting of Warri North, Warri South, and Warri Southwest local government areas of Delta State. Our joint position on the report of the field work on the fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units as ordered by the Supreme Court and recent report of threat to peace and security arising from the fresh delineation. 2. Commendation and call on INEC to conclude the fresh delineation before any future electoral activity in compliance with the Supreme Court order. 3. The Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri commend the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the step taken so far towards complying with the Supreme Court order on fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units in Warri Federal Constituency, Delta State. We know that in a bid to frustrate the implementation of the Supreme Court order, the Shekiri ethnic nationality filed multiple suits in different divisions of the Federal High Court of Nigeria. However, INEC has demonstrated its commitment and respect for the rule of law by taking necessary steps to comply with the Supreme Court order on fresh delineation. In this respect, we welcome the release of the report of the field work on the fresh delineation of INEC. We further know that the report of the field work by INEC confirmed the obvious fact on ground, which is that the Ijaws constitute the majority population in Warri North and Warri South-West local government areas, while the Urhobos constitute majority population in Warri South local government area. We commend INEC for standing by the truth and justice. 6. We therefore call on INEC to complete the process of the fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units in Warri Federal Constituency and release its final decision without further delay. 7. It is the position of the Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri that there should not be any electoral activity, including registration of voters, in the Warri Federal Constituency without completion of the fresh delineation as ordered by the Supreme Court. Our position is predicated on the ground that without completion of the fresh delineation exercise, there are no existing electoral wards and polling units upon which any electoral activities can be predicated. Wards and polling units. There is no longer any existing register of voters in Warri Federal Constituency upon which any activity can be predicated upon. We therefore urge INEC to stick to the law and its guidelines and not to succumb to the Shekiri blackmail and misleading agitations to rely on registered voters. The field work carried out by INEC and other existing public records clearly reveal the majority population status of the Ijaws and Urhobos in Warri North, Warri Southwest, and Warri South local government areas, respectively. Furthermore, the registered voter was not one of the items considered during the field work on the fresh delineation also. The Shekiri have not complied, including registration of voters. 8. Our position on the Shekiri call for the use of voters registration to carry out the fresh delineation. The Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri Federal Constituency, the Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri note the agitation of the Shekiri ethnic nationality against the report of the field work on the basis that the register of voters which existed before the Supreme Court order fresh delineation ought to be used as a basis to carry out the fresh delineation. We equivocally oppose the agitation of the use of non-existent registered voters as basis to carry out the fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units. The agitation is against the 1999 Constitution as amended, the Electoral Act of 2022, and the INEC guidelines dated 21st of March 2024, and the essence of the field work on the fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units. The primary consideration of the delineation of electoral ward and polling unit is the population, quota number of inhabitants, and other physical consideration of the areas concerned. 11. Furthermore, it is our position that, based on the Supreme Court, were shocked by the report of the arrest of persons, including a serving British officer, for illegally bringing in arms to instigate unrest in Warri Federal Constituency of Delta State, so as to truncate the Supreme Court order fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units. A traditional ruler in the Warri Federal Constituency and his close aides were allegedly involved in the said persons have not denied, and the said persons have not denied the report several days thereafter. We know that the Ijaw and Urhobo people of Warri were the primary target of those behind this dastardly act of stockpiling of arms. We therefore commend the proactive effort of the Directorate of the State Security Service (DSS) and sister security forces that carried out the covert operation leading to the arrest of the perpetrators. The Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri called for detailed investigation, prosecution of all those behind this act of terrorism, irrespective of the position and class of the persons involved. We demand that, under no circumstance, should the matter be swept under the carpet, considering its grave implication on regional and national security. The Office of the National Security Advisor is called upon to be transparent in the investigation and prosecution of the culprits. We demand that the Nigerian people, especially the people and residents of Warri Federal Constituency, deserve to have an official reaction from the government of Nigeria on the issue of illegal stockpiling of arms to instigate crisis in Warri. The Chekiri attempt to instigate crisis and blackmail INEC and government. The Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri note the desperate attempt by the Chekiri ethnic nationality to blackmail the Nigerian government and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to carry out the delineation of their attempts and trying to instigate crisis in Warri. The Chekiri have done this through attempts to disrupt oil and gas operations in some parts of Delta State, persistently media attack on INEC and instigating some Yoruba groups to issue reckless press statements. The Ijaws and Urhobos call on Nigerian government to consider the attempt to disrupt oil and gas operations as a result of compliance with the order of the Supreme Court as an act of terrorism and bring the perpetrators to book. We state that Nigeria is not a banana republic where the orders of the Supreme Court will be obeyed at the pleasure and on the condition of an ethnic group. All persons, authorities, including the federal government, is bound by the orders of the Supreme Court on the fresh delineation of electoral wards and polling units. Therefore, any attempt to frustrate the implementation of the judgment by attempting to attack national assets should be regarded as a threat to national security, and the perpetrators must be brought to justice. We condemn the reckless statement issued by some purported pan-Yoruba group where they threaten the peace and security of the Niger Delta region as a result of the Supreme Court order delineation. We are aware that all these threats are the desperate action of some Chekiri leaders and should be ignored by the government. We also call on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not to allow his office to be blackmailed by the Chekiris. in their desperate attempt to truncate the Supreme Court order in the nation. Any attempt to frustrate the implementation of the Supreme Court judgment on the French delineation is a direct invitation to anarchy. I take that again. Any attempt to frustrate the implementation of the Supreme Court judgment on the French delineation is a direct invitation to anarchy by whoever that is involved. The presidency must distance itself from any such act and allow INEC to carry out its functions in line with Section 160, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution as an independent agency of the federal government. The federal government should be reminded that the relocation of the headquarters of Warri Southwest local government area from Ijaw to Kpakamtv, which was instigated by the Ijaw, led to the fratricidal war in Warri from 1997 to 2003, which snowballed into the Niger Delta crisis. Therefore, we warn against any attempt to change the Ijaw and Urhobo majority status in Warri North, Warri Southwest, and Warri South local government areas respectively, as revealed by the INEC report of its fieldwork on the French delineation of electoral wards and units. Signed for and on behalf of the Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri, Honorable Dembofa Ewekome, Comrade Sheriff Muladi, Honorable Chief Ato Akbadubaika, Dr. Joel Ebisina, PhD, Comrade Emmanuel Ngeti, Chief John Eraibo, Chief West Ham Adeho JP, Honorable Victor Umagba JP, and Honorable Mark Ikut, for and on behalf of the Urhobos, of the Ijaws and Urhobos of Warri Federal Constituency.
My name is Honorable Dembo of the Lawi of Warri. We are here to present this press conference with results of the recent happenings regarding the French delineation of constituency, ward and polling unit delineation as directed by the Supreme Court. We've just heard the full brief by Chief Victor Umaga. But for emphasis, we want to state that over the period since INEC dropped the report, that the clamor from the Shekiri is that INEC did not capture the report and that they are not accepting the findings of INEC. We are making it clear here that the report by INEC, the field work, is a replica of what is on ground. There's no saying about it. And we want INEC to be aware, the federal government to be aware, that what INEC has done is in the interest of all that is concerned in the Warri Federal constituency, which makes up the Ijaws, the Urhobos, and the Shekiris. So going to the media to be castigating the work of INEC does not hold water. I want to go further by saying that in Warri South, the Shekiris have made a position that the Ijaws are not included. That is very erroneous. Very, very erroneous. You can see the Urhobos and the Ijaws sitting here together to make this press conference. The Urhobos are part of Warri South, the Ijaws are part of Warri South, and the Shekiris are part of Warri South. For further emphasis, it is important to clear that the place called Warri is different from Warri South local government area. And there are certain communities that make up Warri South, and there are communities that make up Warri Township. And the townships are very, very exclusive. They just have rights. They have been there from time immemorial. And they are the founders of Warri before the coming of the Urhobos and the recent Shekiri settlers. That's with respect to Warri South. But Warri Southwest, it is obvious. They are complaining that they had 6 wards before they have been reduced to 5 wards. I will show you the map of Warri Southwest, a state map, as it entails the Ijaws and the Shekiris. And that's exactly what INEC has captured in the delineation. I want to show the press the map of Delta State. You can see the place marked with flag. That depicts the Ijaws of Urhobo, Kpakamtv, Saba, and Debris. The area marked red, dotted red, that is the area occupied by the Shekiris in Warri Southwest. We are using this to explain for people to understand what is happening in the Warri Federal Constituency. If we have the map of Warri South, you will see the areas covered by the Urhobos, that has majority. You will see the areas covered by the Ijaws, and you see the areas covered by the Shekiris. If you go to Warri North, we have the same issue. The Ijaws are majority. So even the 8 wards they have in Warri North, it's for benefit of doubt. They are not entitled to 8 wards in Warri North. In Warri Southwest, they are not even entitled to the 5 wards. If the replica of what was the actual work done in the field work, I get follows the spirit and letters. The best you can get is 2 wards for the Shekiris. So the noise about INEC did not do the proper work is very erroneous. In the past, they have been dealing on falsehood. The realities are now becoming clearer, and they are shouting. On the nation, we commend INEC, and INEC says they are coming back to do review. We are not opposed to that because we know the reality on ground is what they will see. If they like, they say they are calling for independent body. Which independent body is more important than INEC? That is empowered to take up electoral matters in the state, in the country. So we do not even know where they are, what they are talking about. But that's not our business for now. But we're informing the public and the entire world that this is the true replica of what has happened. Further to that, with respect to this delineation, persons have been arrested from the Shekiri ethnic nationality, piling up arms to have a fresh crisis in Warri. We are calling on the federal government, as a matter of fact, to go into this matter and investigate it, spirit and letters, and bring out all those involved and be prosecuted. This is not a rumor. The persons that have been arrested are not rumors. There is this British army. It's not even a major. The British High Commission has also rejected that position that is not serving with them. They are dismissed. So we have confirmation of what we are saying. And that's why we are saying that the federal government must look into this matter properly. And whichever horse is concerned must be brought to book. The British High Commission released a press release with respect to that matter. So we are people, the Ijaws and the Urhobos of Warri are not there for a fresh crisis. So anybody that wants to cause fresh crisis in Warri, government should not fold his arms. We are calling on the state government, the Delta State Governor, Chief Sheriff of Urhobo, the security agencies, the DSS, to come out with the findings. We want the report. These are not something that you can sweep under the carpet. We are also aware that there is a serious pressure on the security agencies to release the culprits that have been arrested. So this is not a matter for us to play about. Because of the nation that has been approved by the Supreme Court, some persons want to use the usual way of intimidating government and then come out with a situation where government will not bend their rules. We don't want what happened in 1997 to repeat itself in Warri. Ladies and gentlemen, we are appealing to the federal government and also calling on INEC to conclude this process. Thank you and God bless.
It is important that we need to speak to Nigerians, and particularly those of us from Warri Federal Constituency. I'm using this medium and this opportunity to call on all sons and daughters of Warri Federal Constituency, particularly the Ijaws, the Urhobos and the Shekiris, that we need to live together. We need peace. We need unity. This Supreme Court judgment cannot create confusion, neither chaos among us. Peace is the ultimate that we desire in this area, so that we can enjoy the dividend of democracy, we can enjoy the dividends of development in our area. What have transpired today is for the Ijaws and the Urhobos of Warri Federal Constituency to unveil the true positions to the public, because there are rumors out there that some individuals or one individuals have been apprehended who have been stockpiling or supplying ammunition to our neighbors, and we are afraid and we are scared and we are worried that if these issues is not nipped and is not thoroughly investigated and named, it may snowball to crisis. You will recall that Warri some 15-20 years ago was engulfed in a crisis that led to the Niger Delta crisis, the famous Niger Delta crisis. Warri gave birth to that crisis, and we don't want that crisis to repeat itself. It was similar thing like this that occurred in 1996-97 as a relocation of the local government. Now, we are trying as much as possible to ensure that there is peace, and all of us are contributing to the peace and sustainability of peace in Warri. So we don't need any crisis. So I'm using this medium to call on the judge, the Chekiris and the road to abide by the laws and abide by ourselves so that we can live together. We don't need conflict, we don't need crisis in Warri. Peace should be a priority for all of us, and whenever there is peace, we can enjoy together. Let me take you through memory lane. Warri is the commercial name of Delta State, but today Warri is like a ghost city. It's like a ghost town. All the oil companies in Warri in the 70s, in the 80s, they all relocated to Port Harcourt, and some people moved to Lagos. And today we are struggling. The government of Delta State is also struggling to ensure that we can revive the Warri economy. So we don't need anything that will cause another further crisis in this area. We need peace, we need unity, and that is my call to all sons and daughters, to all the ethnic groups in Delta, in Warri in particular. All the traditional rulers should ensure that their subjects are adequately managed and controlled, so that some of their subjects will not going to cause crisis and chaos. Because as a traditional ruler, we expect you to show that leadership, to show that quality, that you have that capacity and ability to manage every issues within your domain. Once again, thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. I do not have a personal concern, but rather the concerns of my people, the Urhobo people of Warri South and Warri Town and Warri South local government area. Our concern is the INEC proposed delineation fieldwork should be allowed, and our observations to that regard have been forwarded to INEC, and INEC should stick to what they have done, because we believe INEC have done the proper thing. You see, our neighbors never expected that this thing will come this early, but there is no way falsehood can prevail for too long. You understand? The delineation has been done, and we are happy with it, even though we are not satisfied with what they give to us. But there's nothing we can do. The major and important thing inside that fieldwork was that the reflection of the status of the Urhobo people as the majority in Warri Town and Warri South.